Hi everyone, Nigel here, Nigel's Modelling Bench. What have we got here for you today? We've got the fourth in our upgrade series. If you don't count the what I'm doing, I'm counting upgrades as aftermarket you buy, and then there's also my upgrades, which will be separate if you like. So this is the fourth in my aftermarket upgrade series for the Hong Kong models 1/32 scale Lancaster. And what we've got in here is a Dambusters upgrade for the kit. It's from a company called Iconicair, Iconicair.com. Check them out. And this is basically here's a screenshot of their ad for this conversion set. This box has just arrived literally in the post about an hour ago. I've taken the sellotape off and I've taken my address labels off. Nice to see that Graham actually uses labels that can be removed from the box without destroying it, so that's good to know. Maybe Amazon should take that tip when they decide to send us kits with no packaging. I'm sure we've all had that. I have a couple of occasions. So yeah, nice big box. Nothing written on the outside of it other than the Iconicair emblem there. Go check them out. He's doing a range of accessories for the Lancaster, and he's got a air-filled tractor on the way, which is due out very, very soon. He's done the upkeep mine, which is the Dambusters bomb, if you like, on a trolley, and he's also done a normal bomb trolley. So you know and it's all in 32nd scale, not 35th, which is worth remembering. I haven't looked inside this box myself yet. As I say, I've removed the tape, so let's have a look. One other quick thing I want to say, I'm doing an experiment here. I'm using the iPhone headphones and mic that came with the phone. I've had a couple of people complaining, people complaining about the volume, so I'm trying something here to see if I can improve it. If it is an improvement, please let me know. If it's not, please let me know, and I'll do something better. So let's have a look in this box. Let's see. As I say, this is the first time I've looked in here, and Graham is to be commended for his packaging. This outside cardboard box is just to protect what's inside, and what we've got inside here is beautifully wrapped in bubble wrap and taped up. So you know how much I care about packaging. I wish all manufacturers would do this. And he's even folded the ends of the tape to make it easy to remove. Thank you, Graham. So nice to see. Get that tape off there so it doesn't get stuck to that good thing. And then we'll get this bubble wrap off of here. Okay, what we've got here is a lovely little box. What size is it? It's 150. It's 225 by what's that? 160 by 50. 225 by 160 by 50. And it's got some artwork on the front of here, and this is basically how I showed you just now. So what we've got here is not your run-of-the-mill resin kit. I'm just, before I open this box, I'm going to start to say, if you go onto some websites and look up what Graham does, you'll see that he's different from a lot of other companies. What he actually does, he is a CAD/CAM engineer, computer-aided design and machining engineer, and what he does, he designs everything on CAD and then machines it. So this isn't a guy model making, you know, using plastic hard and cut out bolt heads and stuff like that. He's actually machining this from solid and then using that as his patterns to make his molds for the resin. So what you get in here is extremely crisp, very, very clean, very, very square, very good fitting parts, because it's all computer designed and manufactured. So the box isn't taped shut, thank God. So once again, we've got another load of bubble wrap. So we've got 1, 2, 3 bags of parts, and then we've got a nice big decal sheet here, which is printed by Fantasy Print Shop, so I'm sure they'll be very good, and nicely packaged for protection. No damage on there whatsoever. And what we've got here is the aircraft serial numbers and the registration numbers here to do, I believe, 5. Yeah, there's 5 different aircraft that you can do from the 26 that were actually, I think it was 26 that were actually designated for the Dambusters raids. So there we go. And then we've got, in the bottom of here, we've got, blimey, it's actually a book. Now bearing in mind, this is, without wishing to insult Graham at all, this is a small business, almost cottage industry, and what he's supplying here is better than you get in some mainstream kits. And this is the kind of quality that really I love to see. I must admit, I am shocked. I am very shocked. This is very good quality. So I'm going to get these parts out of the bags and then I'll come back. Before we continue, I'll just show you something in this book, the definitive record. This is the second edition. It's by Harry Holmes. If you're interested in getting this book, where is the ISBN number? There it is there. Okay. This is definitive record and it's great for stuff like this. And we can see, I mentioned earlier 26 aircraft. I just assumed it was 26 aircraft because it was A to Z. But it's not. It's there's I and Q are missing, so there's 24 registrations here. There are 41 actual aircraft used in the 617 squadron, but then there were only these here used actually on the raid. And we can see here the ones with the star by them, the asterisk should I say, they were the ones that were unfortunately lost on the raid. So there's your full list of 617 squadron there. Looking at the decal sheet, we can see that we've got our 5 options as mentioned earlier. So let's see what we've got. We've got AJG, which was piloted by Gibson. We've got AJP, which was piloted by Martin. AJJ, which was piloted by Maltby. L was piloted by Shannon. T was piloted by McCarthy. And P was again by Martin, sorry. So there's our 5 options, and none of these options were lost. So the decals are very nicely printed. There's very little carrier film on them. They are fairly glossy, and we've basically got everything we need here alongside the beautiful decals that are included in the HK Models kit. You've got everything you need here to complete an accurate Dambusters model. Okay, moving along, let's have a quick look at the instructions. As I said earlier, beautifully presented in glossy, thick paper, thin card, whatever you want to call it. Other than the thickness of the paper, which is superior, I would say these are very akin to the kind of instructions you get in an Edard, you know, the Edard multi-sets where you get, I can't think what they call them now, the Profi packs, where you get everything in them. Beautifully printed, very sharp. You've got some good hints and tips here about using epoxy or super glue, advising you about cleaning the parts, telling you about using primers, and then it's telling you about what mods are required to the kit. And Graham's actually given you jigs to do those mods. So you know, it's very comprehensive manual, and it's showing you the actual components of the set there. I did forget to mention earlier as well, this set is actually available direct from Graham for £47, which is, I think, very reasonable considering the price of some resin conversion kits you see these days and the work that's gone into this. I'm going to show you the quality of the parts. You'll be impressed, I'm sure. So moving into the manual, the first thing it's telling us here to do is to cut some slots into the bomb bay floor and cut some slots into the wiring cover here. The research I'm doing shows that I think this wiring cover may not actually have been there on this actual aircraft across the wing spar part of the bomb bay, but watch my build and I'll cover that when I come to it. So you're cutting out these slots. He's giving the dimensions, which is really nice, and then he's telling you here to drill 4 holes, 1.6 millimeters, using the jig provided. Just to give you an idea of what he's talking about, I've got the bomb bay floor here, and here I've actually modified mine. I've cut some holes out of it where they should be, and I've marked here for some more holes to be cut out. I've also removed the multitude of ejector pins on here. There's actually 41 ejector pin marks on this part alone. So there's the part there. He's telling you to cut slots in this wiring cover here, this square block. Excuse me, I had a coughing fit there. So I'm back again, and then here we're going to put the jig on, which is going to fit beautifully over all of this, and then drill 4 holes for the fitting of the hydraulic actuator. So apparently, I don't know if you know, but the actual bomb was rotated before it was dropped, and the hydraulic actuator here was actually, is it a pump? Is it a pump or is it an actuator? I think it's actually an actuator. But whatever, pump actuator. This actually spun the bomb, and it was run off of the hydraulics. The engines carry different hydraulic pumps to power different items on the aircraft, and the hydraulics for the upper turret were used to actually drive this. So now we're going to fit some framework here, which is going to support the bomb in its bay. And we're going to fit the pump actuator, whatever you want to call it, or assemble it onto its frame and then fit it. Here he's showing it being fitted into the aircraft, I guess when it's all assembled, although you can actually assemble the bomb bay with its 2 floors. I'll show you again here. Goes like this. Again, I've removed all the ejector pin marks from this one, and then you get these side panels which go on like so. So yeah, you could actually assemble, sorry, that's upside down. You could actually assemble the bomb bay and fit all of this in there before it goes into the aircraft. Okay, so now we've actually got it fitted in the aircraft. So he's asking us to temporarily tape this front fairing onto the fuselage, and then okay, so there's the actual part there, is here, and then you're fitting this jig up against that, and then drilling these holes using a 1.6mm drill again. I must say, this is very comprehensive to give you these jigs and everything all in the set. You know, normally they would just give you a measurement, and on some, I'm not going to mention any names, but I think we all know who I'm talking about, but some resin manufacturers, you wouldn't even understand the instructions you get, let alone get instructions in the first place. So we're going to fit the side swinging arms to the previously drilled holes. So obviously here we're going to drill these holes both sides, and then place restraining cable into holes. Do not glue, and allow the joined end to drop into place on the deck. Glue this part only. So we're going to place this here. I'll show you this in the parts in a minute. Glue it into the deck, but not glue these ends. Then we're going to assemble the upkeep, which is very, very nice. And then what are we doing here? This is actually the same thing again, but just in reverse. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I'll look at that in detail. And then we're going to fit the rear fairing, which covers up that back of the bomb bay. So as I say, if you've got this kit and you're concerned about all these ejector pin marks, this is a good way of covering them up. And then spreading the side arms to allow the bomb to fit in, and fitting the drive belt over the pulley. Then we've got the front vertical height indicator, which is a basically a light beam which goes down, that goes in place of the camera. So obviously this aircraft didn't carry a camera, I'm guessing. I must say as well, something else I'll be reviewing when it turns up. I've bought the Dambusters Lancaster book by Peter Postlethwaite, is it? And it's available on Amazon, £30, and I'll be reviewing that as well. And that gives you a good update on, you know, what you should be looking at removing from the kit. I'd imagine this had no bomb sight equipment in it. I know it had no upper turrets. There's obviously some other stuff which will be removed. And then we've got this is the rear vertical height indicator, so we're going to fit that in there. And if you know anything about this, basically the lights were set at an angle, so they beamed down on the ground, and then when they actually crossed each other, that was they knew then they were at a perfect 60 foot. And then we've got some painting instructions and decaling instructions for the mine, and we get those decals on the set. and it's giving us instructions here. The mines were left in red, brown undercoat or black. No images show lines around the mine, but the lettering does appear on an image of Barlow's captured mine and also on a detailed German drawing. So it's all a bit of conjecture, all this. And then here's an accurate description of the actual the squadron codes that were assigned to these serial numbers, and some detail about what they were and actually who they were captained by and everything. So I needn't have bothered at the beginning because Graham's already done that for us. So there we've got a lovely, lovely instruction manual. So let's put that to one side and have a look at some of these parts. Okay, so we've actually got here, these are parts of the restraining frame, which are beautifully cast in lovely nice grey resin, which feels very similar to the MDC quality. So yeah, a little bit of cleanup required on the inside of those, but nothing much. You know, if you didn't actually clean it up, it probably would never be seen because it's deep up inside the bomb bay. But yeah, beautifully moulded, not bowed, all nice and straight. That's probably due to the wonderful packaging that Graham's done. Another main part of the restraining framework there. Must say it's all been designed as well to be removed from the mould plugs very, very easily. Don't forget to wear a mask or wet your bench or whatever, or both. And there's that restraining cable. Remember, it said don't glue the ends, just glue that part there. And that's going to be extremely flimsy. You may wish to replace that with some copper wire, or just use these parts from the kit. But beautifully supported. So that's those there. Then we've got a large resin fret here, and we've got, this is obviously the framework for the actual hydraulic pump. This is the jig for drilling those holes in the front bomb bay that we talked about. Here, yeah. And then we've got some parts of the pulley mechanism. This is probably parts of the lights. That's going to be the lights. There'll be the two lights there. Spotlights front and rear. And if you keep an eye on my channel, if you subscribe and hit the notifications bell, you'll see a trigger come up when I review that book, and I'll show you some detailed images of what all this stuff was all about. And then we've got some tiny little part here. I don't know quite what it is, but it is a little support for something or other, moulded onto its little support plug there. And then we've got a pulley, which is beautifully moulded, very, very crisp. As I said earlier, this is all CAD/CAM machined, CNC machined using CAD, and then that's used to make the mould. So you get very, very crisp, very, very clean, sharp moulding. There you go. You can see there. The moulding on there is beautiful. And another pulley here. So that's those. Keep them all bagged up in their proper bags, as Graham intended. Oh, it looks like that wasn't the jig what I showed you earlier. This part here looks like that's for something else. So, oh, that is probably the actual mount itself for the hydraulic pump. And what I've got in here is the jig. So here we've got a bag of separate parts. I mean, these are so cleanly moulded, you would think that was actually a piece of machined. Obviously you can't feel it, but that is just incredibly gorgeously moulded. So clean and sharp. Really, really nice. You can see where Graham's actually taken the time to sand the back there where it's been at anything out of level, cleaned around those pins. You know, this is quality, very high quality. And this is that jig that we're talking about for drilling the bomb bay. So that's obviously going to go on like that. You can see there it fits like that. There is no play in that whatsoever, and then you can drill your 4 holes. And then this is going to be the jig for the sides, so this will go on the sides of the fuselage, drill through, and then the same on the other side. So let's get these back in their bag. As I say, these are these main side calipers. From what I can gather, they actually went like that to drop the bomb. So make sure there was no hesitation in how it fell off. It just went like that and allowed it to go. So as I say, I'm learning. I will learn more. I've got a couple of books on the subject already. It's always been an interest of mine, but I don't know everything about it. I don't know everything about anything. I don't think anybody does. Now here we go. These are the parts of the upkeep mine, and you can see how clean and crisp, you know, how beautiful this this CNC machining aspect to it all comes together. Look how they fit together absolutely beautifully, like so. Nice large areas. Whoops. To put it together, I would suggest using epoxy on this. Put some epoxy on there, put some rubber bands, keep it all nice and round, and then let that go off overnight, and then you'll have a lovely joint to sand there. And then we've got the ends that go on here. They fit, yeah, they're going to fit into there, so you'll end up with a flange around the outside. And you can see that the detail on them is absolutely exquisite. The nut and bolt detail is incredible. Really, really nice. And then we've got the this is the front shroud. This is the one that goes under the front of the aircraft. The nose will be this way, and then the bomb will sit in here like so. And this is again beautifully moulded. We've got the hinge detail on the sides, which is all nice and crisp. You can see some lovely raised rivet detail there, as it should be. Shame the whole aircraft isn't the same, but never mind. Really, really nice. A little bit of clean up there on the back edge, but you know, hey, if you're going to moan about that, then you shouldn't be dealing with resin. And then we've got the rear shroud here, which goes up inside the bomb bay. So that goes up inside like so, and then the rear fuselage carries on behind here. And again, all beautifully moulded. Yeah, absolutely exquisite. That will sit somewhere like that, so you can see that when you actually got your aircraft all together with this set on it, all you're actually going to see of the bomb bay is that part there, and then you'll have the bomb sat here, so you're not going to see much of the bomb bay at all. So although I've gone to all the trouble of removing these ejector pin marks, I needn't have bothered, but I am going to concentrate on getting this area here beautifully detailed to match how beautifully detailed all this is. So so there we go. That is that. That is the Iconicair 1/32 scale Dambuster conversion for the HK Models 1/32 scale Lancaster. Have a look online, you'll see some more details about this. Keep an eye on my channel and you'll see me put all this together and put it on the fuselage, and then we can enjoy it together. £47, worth every penny in my opinion. Go take a look at Graham's website, get yourself one on order, build your kit as a Dambuster, and if you want to build a B1, then wait for the wingnut wings to come out. In fact, by the time the wingnut wings come out, you should be just about finished with this one. So thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe, tell your friends, share, do whatever, and see you all soon. Bye bye.